Hi everyone! Let me give it a minute for this to get kicked off here. On today's bootcamp call, we are going to go over connecting. Let's wait for some thumbs up, some hellos, make sure everyone's there. For My Essential System Bootcamp, I'm not gonna click the finish button until the very end. For the past 2 calls that I've done, my mistake, I'm new to this whole live thing, and I've hit the button too soon. So I'm sorry, guys. I won't do that this time, I promise. Okay. We're gonna kick this off in just a minute here. I'm gonna give you guys 3 awesome tips tonight. So, do you guys ever wonder, like, how do I really get into communication with somebody? Like, if people like you, they're more likely to buy from you, right? If they're like, wow, I really resonate with that person, they're more likely to say, wow, okay, yeah, I want to join your team. I want to work the business with you. I want to get your products. Would you guys agree that's true? Give me a thumbs up. Yeah? It's true, right? So, the more people like you, the more they're in communication with you, the more they have in common with you, the more likely they are to want to join your team, to want to get your products, to want to work with you, any of the above, right? So what I want to go over today on this bootcamp call is something that's very, very, very important, and that is establishing that good relationship, that authentic connection with somebody. And I'm going to give you my top 3 tips. Okay, these are my top 3 tips for connecting, because everyone communicates. Everyone communicates. Communication is everywhere. Billboards is a communication, right? A sign is a communication. That's all communication. But very few people connect. And what you want to do is authentically connect with somebody. So how? Okay, how do we do that? So these are my top 3 tips. We're gonna make this short and sweet, and then you guys are gonna go practice them in your communication that you have every single day, okay? So here's tip number 1. Tip number 1 is to actually admire the person. Have you ever tried talking to somebody that you don't like or that you're angry at? Maybe somebody did something to get you mad. Maybe you and your husband got in a fight, and in that moment, you're angry at him. How easy is it to communicate and to connect? It's not, right? Because you guys are in an argument. There's anger there, right? So it's not that easy. So let's apply this. And also on the flip side of that, when you and your husband or best friend or just think of somebody, it doesn't matter, whoever, you guys are doing really well, right? Someone that you just had a great day with. How easy is it for you two to actually connect and communicate? It's a lot easier, right? So let's apply that to every single communication that you have, right? So what that would mean is that for you to actually truly communicate with someone, to truly have that connection, it requires something to establish it, and that is admiration, okay? So you recognize that if you're angry with somebody, right, or you're upset with them, the communication doesn't flow as easily. But when you're on good terms with them, it's easy. It's a lot. It's just gently goes. So the first thing you could do is just set the intention and find a reason, 1, to admire that person. Just 1. Maybe you look at them and you think, wow, I really like their style. It could be something so subtle. It can be you look at them and you're like, oh my goodness, I have the same hair color as her. I like her hair. Her hairstyle is really cool. Wow, she's really kind to her children. Maybe you're talking on the phone, right? And she filled out an ad, or maybe you have some information from her from a form she filled out, and you know that she is, her goals are to make a lot of money because she wants to donate to her favorite charities. Or maybe she wants to stay home with her kids, right? This is data you have. Find something. It's actually very easy, right? People are great, right? We all kind of want the same thing. We all want to live happier lives. We want to have more time with those we love, right? So find something you can admire in that person and set that intention with them. Feel that for them, You can actually create that, right? So before you communicate to somebody, admire them. Just find that point of admiration for that person before you even open your mouth, right? You will find yourself looking at them differently. You will find yourself communicating differently. And guess what else? You will see that they respond differently to you. Very cool, right? So that's number one. That's my number one tip. Before you go into connecting with anyone, before you go into any sort of communication, find a reason to admire them, right? Find the admiration point. That's number one, okay? Number two, reality. Now, the next thing is, what do you have in common with this person? And what can you find that you can have in common with this person, right? So when you have a commonality, something that you two can connect on, all of a sudden, that person will go into more communication with you. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed you're talking to someone and you're like, you used to work at IBM? I did too. Oh my goodness. And then all of a sudden you have something to connect on, right? Oh, you have an 8-year-old? I have an 8-year-old too. Oh, wow, you grew up in New Jersey? So did I. Like, you can find something to connect on, that reality point. And the next thing you know, from there, it's like there's this camaraderie that builds, and that forms this foundation, and then you can build upon it and build upon it and build upon it, right? So finding a reality point is a really, really good place to begin that communication. So now imagine somebody. Okay, I'm going to go on to the third tip in a second, but I want you guys to really get this because you're going to practice it. You're going to practice it with your partner as soon as I stop this video, and then you're going to practice it throughout the week with every single person you connect with. But even your partner, even your accountability partner in a new union of time, get on the phone with them and practice it, okay? The first thing is the admiration. If you really flow that towards them, and then when you get on the line with them and you communicate, ask them, did you notice a difference? Really ask them. I'm certain they will. So you have that admiration. Then you find that point of reality. Ask questions, find that point of reality, and then connect on it, right? Build a bond around it. And then from there, now we go into what is called forming. Has anyone heard of this before? Forming, F-O-R-M. Anyone heard of this? So forming, F-O-R-M, family, occupation, recreation, and money. When you're forming somebody, you're asking them questions that are actually gathering data, okay? You're gathering data that's going to then help you determine their why, right? So a lot of you are saying you've heard of this before. Yep, okay, perfect. So a lot of people will go into, oh, tell me about your family, or, you know, what do you do for fun, or what would you do if you had $1 million, or like, you know, you ask different questions like that. And sometimes it's hard to get the answers. But when you have admiration and you have a point of reality that you've connected on before you go into the forming questions, it's so much easier. So much easier. It's just like it flows. You find out exactly what the why is, and then you can go right into the, well, if I could show you something that could blah, 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 would you be willing to check it out? Right? It's so easy. Like, so imagine something like this. Let me give you a scenario. Oh, yes. No, I'm sorry. I'll repeat what FORM stands for. Family, occupation, recreation, and money. So if you know a little bit about someone's family, like what, you know, where does that stand with them? Maybe that's the most important thing to them. Maybe they want to spend more time with their family. We're trying to find their why, right? Maybe it's their occupation. Maybe they hate their job. Maybe they love their job, but they don't make enough money. Maybe they wish they had a job. Maybe they're a stay-at-home mom and they want to do something on the side without sacrificing time with their family, right? Something like that. Let's say it's recreation. Maybe for fun, they love to ski, but they haven't gone in like 10 years because they don't have the time, right? Or they don't have the money, whatever it is. Or maybe it is money. You start talking about money, and that's their button. That's the thing that they really get hung up on, right? And when you start talking about money, they're like, yeah, I wish I had more. I don't make nearly enough money. I should be making so much more money, right? You form, F-O-R-M, family, occupation, recreation, money. These are the things that are going to help you find the why, Okay? So, what you want to do, again, is flow the admiration. So if I'm going to talk to an individual, I was going to pick a name here. So if I'm going to talk to Cindy, right, I'm going to really think of something I admire about Cindy, right? I'm going to find a point that I can really admire about her. I may even communicate that to her. That may be my reality point as well, okay? Then from there, right, what you're going to do is find a reality point to connect with that person on, that you can begin a conversation with, right? And that's creating the foundation that you guys are going to build upon. Then with the admiration, check, right? With the reality point found and communicated, check. Now you can go into asking questions, and it's not like, why are you asking me questions all of a sudden? It's so organic and natural, right? You can do this with anyone you meet. You can be in the grocery store. Oh my gosh, I love that sweater. Oh, thanks. Yeah, where'd you get it? Oh, I got it at Anthropologie. That's my favorite store. Oh my gosh, me too. Yeah, no, I shop there all the time. Have you seen their kids line? Do you have any kids? Oh yeah. You see, boom, you go right into it. You can just start going through that forming questions. Do you see that? I mean, this is literally how you can talk to every single person you meet once you get really good at this. And then now, let's say you know they want more time with their kids. Let's say you find out whatever it is their why is. That kind of goes into the next step, which is for another call. But then imagine you say, wow, so you're looking for a way to stay home with your kids? Okay, well, if I could show you a way that you could do that, would you be willing to hearing it out? Of course they're going to say yes. But you can't do that until you've actually authentically connected with them by admiring, finding that reality point, and then asking the questions that get their why. Does that help you guys? Does that make sense? Is everyone kind of following along here? I would feel awkward asking about money. What are some examples? Okay, well, you don't just say, tell me about your money. What's your bank account look like? But you could do something like, oh yeah, what's your, talk about their job. So what do you do for a living? I ask people that all the time. What do you do for a living? Or if they're wearing something, like if they're dressed up, oh, do you work during the day? Where do you work? Or just kind of ask a question like that, right? And then from there, I would say, oh, that's really cool. You must make a lot of money doing that. And sometimes they're like, oh yeah, no, I make so much money. Or they're like, you know what? I should be getting paid way more. I work so hard. Or they're like, no, actually, I don't make nearly enough money. Or they're like, oh yeah, no, it's good. Right? So that's one way you can say it. Right? Another way is if you're talking to someone and you find out what they like to do. And they say ski. You'd be like, oh wow, I hear that's a really expensive habit. I would love to ski, with my family. I've never gone skiing before. Is that expensive? And they can be like, well, it's relative. I mean, we can afford it. Or they may say, yeah, we make a sacrifice every year, but we make it go right. Like things, does that help you, Kathy? So you're not really asking, tell me about how much money you make, right? But you're just asking questions that give you answers around their money scene. Like I'm not gonna say, are you married, right? But I may say, oh, do you and your husband like to go out to dinner? Oh, I don't have a husband. Oh, okay, right? So you ask questions around it. So it's not like, let me get out my checklist, right? So, but I do. It's a great question because a lot of people get hung up on that. So that's where you can just ask questions that bring it back around. Yes, good. That helps. Perfect. So again, you're talking to somebody about kids. You can say, oh my gosh, you have 5 kids. Everyone always says kids are so expensive. Do you find that? Maybe ask that. Have you ever let money be a reason not to have more kids? I have a friend and she's like, I can't have any more kids. They're so expensive. Like, do you find that to be true? That's a way to get a gauge on where they are with money. Right? They may be like, no, I mean, what is it? A few $100 a month for diapers? No, it's no big deal. And then you're like, yeah, a few $100 a month for oils is also no big deal to that person. But if someone's like, oh my gosh, it's so expensive. We only use cloth diapers. We make all of our food, from scratch, or maybe they do that because of health reasons, but maybe also they're telling you that money is hard for them. Okay, so you're just gathering data. And all you're honestly doing is gathering information so you can help them the best way possible. Right? You're not trying to sell them like a purse they don't need, although we all need purses sometimes. But you're not trying to sell them something that they don't really need. You're selling them something, like, to be honest here for a second, you're selling them something that's going to change their life. The oils will absolutely enhance their life. The business will absolutely enhance their life. And you guys know that. So feel good about it. Feel good about what you're doing, because by you genuinely admiring someone, right? By you getting that reality point in, and then by you actually asking questions that give you data so that you can then help them make a better decision and give them information about Young Living, you're actually doing them a service. So you should not feel 1 ounce weird about this or off about this, because you're helping them. And not enough people in our world, in my opinion, actually take the effort to help others. But you guys do. And you have a great tool. You have a great company. You have a great business, right? You have a team that wants to support you. And you have your accountability partner that you actually can get with right now and practice this. So that's where I'm going to end this. My 3 tips, right? So 3 tips. Number 1, flow admiration. Find something to admire in that person, okay? Number 2, reality. Find a reality point so that you can create a bond, right? Create a connection that you can build upon. And then 3, ask the forming questions. And Kathy, you asked about like the money, and I answered that. The thing that's going to give you the most comfort is practicing these. So when you get on with your accountability partner, role play. Just like I was role playing with myself, right? Role play and get really comfortable with these questions, answering these questions, playing with it together with your accountability partner. Just have fun with it, right? So admiration, reality, forming. Admiration, reality, forming. Okay, so those are the 3 things I want you to practice tonight with your accountability partner. That's step number 1. Get with your accountability partner and say, okay, let's do this, right? And if it feels weird, who cares? Just keep doing it until it's so comfortable that you're like, I can talk to anyone on the street and do this. Then get out into the world and actually practice talking to people. Like, just get comfortable with it. Have fun with it, right? No, seriously. I know some of you are like, oh my gosh, I can't do that. Why not? Do you care about somebody enough to actually be uncomfortable? Right? Even if you start with just step 1 and you see someone, you say, oh, I like your sweater. Try that. Just try starting there, right? If this is too much for you to do all of it, start with just 1 step. Go around and admire people. Like spend a day saying, I'm just going to admire people all day, right? So start with that. Okay, is that more digestible for some of you that are like, I can't do this whole thing? Just admire. Then you'll be comfortable paying compliments to people, okay? Admire them and communicate the admiration, right? Number 2, when you're ready to say, okay, I'm ready for the next thing, find a reality point. Maybe they have earrings on of the Eiffel Tower, and you can say, oh, wow, I like your earrings. This is admiration and reality of the Eiffel Tower. Yeah, have you been to France before? I actually went last year. Or like just find a reality point that you can then have a reason to talk to this person. I'm telling you, you can find anything. Anything. When I'm checking out at the grocery store, I can 100% of the time find a reason to talk to the person that's behind me. Always. Maybe they're buying something, or one time I was checking out and I had like really random stuff, and I look at the person behind me and I go, I know my like shopping list is really random, right? I think it was like diapers, a kombucha, I don't know, whatever it was like so weird. And she kind of looked at me and laughed, and then we started talking about random shopping lists. Right? I mean, you could literally find a reason to talk to anyone. And people want to talk more so than ever because there's so much like not talking going on because everyone's on like their screens and social media. So make the connection. Ready? Flow admiration, find a reality point, and then start asking questions that give you answers so that you can help the person. Okay? That is what you're going to practice with your accountability partner. And then you're going to practice this with people out in the world, right? This is the most important skill you can build, is being able to truly connect with people. It'll take you so far. So practice it. Take this seriously. This is extremely important. So thanks for tuning in tonight for tonight's My Essential System Bootcamp call. Go ahead and take these actions now.